Yeah, and I think it's all just been about building the culture of the program. Started with him as an assistant coach, and then when he was put into the head coaching role, it was just building that culture, building the standard that he wanted us to play at, and it's just been growing ever since. Yep.
What have you seen the spring ball when it started until now? How far has this offense come? You feel like
This spring ball?
Yeah.
I mean, we've come very far. Obviously, I think just getting more comfortable each year with each other and just growing as individual players and as a team. It's just part of the process of becoming a good unit.
How much do you feel like the offense has a lot of 4-year starters? How do you feel like that has helped this season?
Oh yeah, it's been huge. Anytime you have a veteran group of guys, it's it's just I've always just found it easier each year that I've played with guys. I mean, when you play with especially 4 seniors on the offensive line, it's just you kind of think with one mind. It's like I know what other people are going to do before they do it. Basically, like I know what my guards are going to do before they do it, and they know the calls I'm going to make before I call them. Basically, so it's like we're already on the same page before we even necessarily communicate with each other. So it just becomes easier to communicate and play with each other the more experience you get with each other.
How would you describe your relationship with Justin? I mean, you guys have been through so much together here at Oregon. So obviously, center quarterback always going to be a special relationship. But what does it mean to have gone through these years with him? Yeah,
the relationship that you have with obviously your quarterback and really any of the other guys on the team that have experienced the hard times that we have. It grows through all those hard times. So I think that it's just a sense of trust and just knowing how far we've came and how hard we've all worked to get here. That's just built that relationship over time.
Thank you.
With you graduating and moving on, there's going to be a new center for the first time in 4 years.
Right.
Who do you feel like the guys that are going to be in contention for that once spring ball opens up?
There's a lot of guys that could be in contention for that. Guys, Ryan Walk's been playing, center here for a couple of years. Alex Forsythe's been playing center here for a few years. Dawson Jamarillo's been, playing here. Obviously, he's injured right now, but I mean, there's a lot of guys in contention for that spot. So we'll see what happens when.
What's the challenge of being a first-year starting center? I mean, it's been a long time since that was
right.
your case, but just what are those guys going to be having to go through and learn on the fly?
Thinking back, I think the hardest part was just kind of leading the whole group, leading the unit. When you're a young guy and you've never necessarily been in that role where you have to lead 4 other guys to make sure that everybody's on the same page so the offense can roll. I think just being that vocal leader when you're not necessarily accustomed to that on the field is difficult. So I think that's probably the hardest thing, and just overall confidence, just knowing that what you're calling is the right call and being able to roll with it.
Thanks, Jay.
Yep.
Different coaches have different demeanors. Wisconsin's coach is kind of laid back. Mario looks like he's juiced up all the time. When he first came as O-line coach, what were your first impressions of him that 1 year that he was O-line coach?
I mean, my first impression was that I knew he was gonna be a great coach. Obviously, he had a great track record at previous places that he'd been. I think in our first meeting, I knew that he was a great motivator. That he meant business. That he seemed like a very real, genuine person. And then just building that relationship after that, I knew being coached by him on the field that he was a guy that knew what he was talking about, knew what needed to be done if we wanted to be, great offensive linemen individually and a great offensive line as a unit.
Did he change much going from a position coach for 1 year to the head coach job? I mean, that's a quick turnaround.
Yeah, no, he didn't really change much. I mean, the same stuff that we saw in the O-line room and the same, kind of teachings that he taught us and the same culture that he was implementing in the O-line room, that just shifted over to a team scale. And it had already, been kind of spreading out throughout the team as well. Before he was named the head coach, so it wasn't much of a change really.
From what you've seen of Wisconsin on tape defensively, what did they do well, or what's the first thing that jumps out at you about the scheme that they have?
They're really talented all across the board. With their front seven, there's not a weak point. Obviously, I mean, when you play in the Rose Bowl, you have to have a very good defense, and they do have a very good defense all around in their front seven. So They're just very technically sound, a lot of talent across the board, and they're not going to beat themselves. So we have to come out and play good football if we want to beat them, because it's not going to be handed to us.
What's the best thing about blocking for CJ right now?
I mean, CJ's he's just an old school type of player. He's a quieter guy. Doesn't say a whole lot, but he plays hard. He does what's asked of him, and just a good guy all around. Just a guy that you want to have on your team.
Pretty good pass protector, isn't he?
Oh yeah. He's really good. I mean, really hard-nosed, physical guy. Loves the contact. Loves playing football, running in between the tackles. Just the running back that you want to block for.
He had just asked you about Wisconsin, and you're talking about how it's a really great opponent and all that. Like, how different do you view film or games or whatever now compared to when you were starting as a freshman? Do you see an opponent like that and think any differently than you did when you were first kind of getting going in all this?
Yeah, I think at this point it's just having a lot of previous game experience, knowing that watching a team like Wisconsin, how I can compare that to other teams that I have played against that might play similar schemes, or how similar individuals might play certain blocks or certain schemes. So I'd say, yeah, just overall experience helps with that.
Did you ever get nervous before games earlier in your career?
Oh, I always get nervous before games.
Yeah.
I mean, it's your standard pregame anxiety. You feel like you're going to puke, and then first play hits and you're fine.